and highs also at around 51. I'm KIRO 7 Pinpoint meteorologist Nick Allard.
It's 53 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
Got it. All right, here we go. I'm going to get Tom in here. I remember the day the camera ruined the show. I just say that right now. Got to get Tom in here. I don't even know where Tom is. Hey, hold on a second. Hey, Tom! Yeah!
Here I am to ruin the show.
No, not you. The thing.
Oh.
By the way, can everybody see Heather's most what was the sparkly clothes? Where did you go to Sparkletown? Where do you
look like Frozen.
Exactly. What? Oh, I'll take that.
She's not in frame, so.
I'm just here to light up your... Okay, wait.
Spinning around or show
Yeah,
her. Hey, we're doing...
That's right.
Sparkly town.
Elsa, everybody,
Got
from
it.
Frozen.
Either we're doing radio or we're doing TV. All right? We're
Or
one or the other.
Broadway.
All right. All right, here we go. We've done in the news. Sorry. Treatment for... I'm reading it. Sorry, treatment of gay teachers suggests Rush Limbaugh was sadly right. Now, this is a cobbled-together piece by Danny Westney. Needed to...
Cobbled together.
Because we haven't voted yet for president yet, but he's basically saying, you see this? Look at this. See the way they treated those poor teachers there at Kennedy? We're not ready. We're not ready for a gay president. We haven't had the election yet.
That's right.
But
he's afraid. No, this is like a shot across the bow of liberal Seattle or the Puget Sound region by saying, I don't know how closely people followed Rush Limbaugh last week, said, in effect, that the world is not ready or the country is not ready for a gay president, whatever
you want to hear Rush?
Judge thinks. Do we have Rush?
Yeah. How's this going to look? 37-year-old gay guy kissing his husband on stage next to Mr. Man, Donald Trump. What's going to happen there? And they got to be looking at that, and they've got to be saying that despite all the great progress and despite all the great wokeness and despite all the great ground that's been covered, America's still not ready to elect a gay guy kissing his husband on the debate stage president. They have to be saying this, don't they? Now, there may be some Democrats who think that is the ticket. There may be some Democrats who think that's exactly what we need to do, Rush. Get a gay guy kissing his husband on stage, you ram it down Trump's throat, and beat him in a general election. Really? Having fun envisioning that.
Okay. So then from Rush's comments, Danny then says, Look at this. You see this happen at Kennedy? These two teachers were asked or resigned. I don't know what happened there. They resigned.
Yes.
And now then the kids, it was a sunny day, so the kids went out and protested. And then you have Danny saying, you see this? Rush may be right. Sadly, Rush may be right.
Even in the great Pacific Northwest, which has been open to gay rights and all sorts of progressive ideas, even here we are subject to Rush Limbaugh's rules that maybe we're not ready for.
But you see how that sort of falls apart when you just sort of look at it. First of all, it's the Catholic Church.
Yes.
A couple thousand years old. They've had this for a long time. St. Thomas Aquinas talked about this. You can find all sorts of stuff in the Bible. They're pretty steady on where they think homosexuality is. And you go all the way to Rome, and you ask the Pope about it, even as progressive as he is, as a socialist/communist, even he goes along with the idea of what the church's view of homosexuality is.
But he also says, who am I to judge? That's what he was famous for saying.
Yeah, but he didn't say that about this. He said that about some other things.
No, this is about homosexuality. He says, who am I to judge?
This is when he's being interviewed on the plane, that part where they ask him about it?
That could be. I don't remember the context of it, but it got a lot of play, a lot of precedent. Wow, this is the most liberal Pope imaginable.
Passing
and then
the buck.
Last week, he basically rolled some of that back when he decided, even though we don't have enough priests for the Amazon, and I'm not talking about Jeff Bezos' company, but the actual Amazon, no, we're not going to allow for married priests because that's still, we're not quite ready for that, speaking of, using Rush Limbaugh's language. Yeah. And also women deacons. Not only aren't women allowed to be priests, they're not even allowed to be deacons. He also sort of held ground on that. So that's where we stand on this. And there's a lot of upset. Now, you're right. This is a completely different matter because it's the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church can run their schools however they want to, and in this particular case, they have decided. It sounds like the unofficial word is, hey, they just resigned. They're two separate teachers in separate relationships. Both happen to resign. They both happen to be gay and both gotten engaged in the last couple of months. But they just happen to step aside. That's a little rich to believe. Yes, it's far too convenient. However, that is their right. They can run their schools however the Catholic dictates push. There is a priest who's written a book about gay relations within the context of the Catholic Church, and he says that it's pretty curious that it's only on the gay issue where the church cracks
James
down.
Martin?
James Martin, is that his name? Yeah.
Is it the building a bridge? That one?
Yeah, James Martin, yes.
Uh-huh.
So what he points out is that there are a lot of things that don't play by the rules of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Birth control. How many people do you think practice birth control, among the parishioners that make up Kennedy Catholic High School?
Sure.
Or maybe even some of the students, for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Birth control issues, those kind of, living together before marriage.
Sure.
A lot of that goes on, and those people aren't kicked out.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if it was more public, they would be, but it just does raise a lot of issues. And I was raised Catholic. My parents are, dyed-in-the-wool Catholics through and through. But there are liberal factions within the Catholic Church, and there are more conservative factions. And so you could be a practicing Catholic. In fact, I think Pete Buttigieg might be a practicing Catholic for all I know.
I know he quotes a Bible.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a Christian. And at this point, one can have different thoughts about what the church does or does not uphold, or what they enforce. Maybe that's the better word.
My buddy Rocco, whose kid goes to that school, writes me last night. The contract states the teachers will live by the doctrine of the church. I'll pretend for a moment that I am a shorter and full head of hair version of Tom.
All right.
Does that include birth control, premarital sex? These are the parts of Catholic doctrine.
That's
not
right.
enforced. The action of termination by one or all can be seen as discriminatory. I write back at 4:30 in the morning. The church may enforce any part of the contract with discretion. It is a religion, and it is protected from and isolated from the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Yes,
You're far
legal.
better looking than Tom. So,
yes, but I'm
so do
surprised
whatever
you have
listen,
such an enlightened friend.
Really? Why's that? He's the guy from Seventh Man. He's the one that's really into hockey.
Oh, is that
He's from
right?
Canada.
Oh, fantastic.
And he's very
Oh, that explains it.
Yes.
He's nice and liberal. He's
This
from
kid
Canada.
goes to Kennedy. And
Yeah,
he said,
that's
look at this.
cool.
I'm so proud of my daughter. You got a picture
Yeah.
of them out there protesting. Okay, good.
Good for him.
Listen, you signed the contract. I'm sorry. Maybe you don't like it. This is one thing. These are the rules that you live by.
Well,
it sucks, but that's the club, and the club says you do this.
Yes.
Right?
The church. No, but right now the teachers aren't the ones up in arms. It's all the people impacted by that. And that's what's encouraging about this, is that the people are saying this is not a good way to determine who's teaching our kids at Kennedy Catholic.
Okay, I looked up that thing, the guy that wrote the book.
Yeah,
on
James
that
Martin.
Thing. Here it is real fast.
Yeah.
This is basically how they explain it, okay? So they use St. Thomas Aquinas, and St. Thomas Aquinas actually takes some stuff from Aristotle, and basically they point out this way. They say God has an order to everything. Inside the oak, the seed of the oak, the acorn, is an oak tree, right?
Okay.
Okay, there is your acorn.
It's
It'll
going
grow
a long way, but still.
It's not
Hey, I'm named after
I'm
Thomas
sorry,
Aquinas.
we're not on camera.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Thomas
so
Aquinas,
there
the
is an
smartest
order,
guy.
right? So there is an order. There is a natural order to everything. So here we go. This, according to the Catholic Church, the child is ordered, quote, toward becoming an adult. Otherwise, every act is judged according to whether it is properly oriented towards its proper end. In terms of sexuality, all sex is, quote, ordered towards what is called the affective. That's love. And genitive. That means having children. And that's it. And that's the whole thing. So it's a whole order. It's like there's your kid,
Yes.
then you meet someone else, you get married, you then have a kid, and then their kid then grows up, and it's just the order of things, and that's how they back it all up. That's all.
No,
and they said that you're out of order.
That's yes, I
when
know.
you are
but we
homosexual.
we're all out of order thanks to the original sin. So if we're all sinners, how is that sin worse than other sins?
Welcome to Catholic Hour.
Exactly. This is why they don't
Listen,
teach
I got to
Thomas
say
Aquinas.
Monica's, and I do not
What?
receive Holy Communion. You know why? Because I told something to the priest, and the priest says until you confess that, I can't give you Holy Communion.
Yeah.
So I don't get Holy Communion because of that.
Why don't you just confess it?
Because I don't feel that I'm doing anything wrong.
Wow.
So there you go.
Look
But
at
I
this.
get blessed.
We are in the last half hour of the 3.5 hour masterpiece The Irishman just now. That's fascinating, John. And as
I gave up on The Irishman. All right, moving on.
Well, it sounded like you lived it.
Robert De Niro's such a jerk.
Because of his. Because of his.
No, and also
Trump.
having interviewed him. I didn't want to name drop. I didn't want to name drop. But you sit there with him before the cameras roll.
Yeah.
Call me Bobby.
Oh, yeah?
Bobby. I'm calling him Bobby, right?
Okay.
I'm like, a new restaurant you opened down there, that's over in Hoboken. Yeah, the rent is better, blah, blah, blah. Have you been there yet? I said, no. Oh, God, you got to come in. What should I get? What do you got? Oh, what do you like? I mean, they make everything. Blah, 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 blah,
That's
blah.
positively chatty for Bobby.
Oh, very. And then all of a sudden they go 5, 4, 3, and he just clams up. Says nothing, and I call him Bob, and he looks like he's going to kill me. He stab me in the neck with a knife, or beat me in the head with a baseball bat and put me in the trunk of a car.
He is the worst interview. I've never had a chance to interview him, but Jimmy Fallon had him on as the guest of his very first show, and it was probably the most excruciing interview we've ever witnessed.
Prior to the lights coming up, I'm sure they were like, hey, you know what I love about you? You're the greatest. I love you. Come here.
He's a very private man.
Right, but turn it on, Bobby, when the lights are on. I don't care about what you want to do afterwards. All right, anyway. How'd we get on that? Oh, The Irishman. All right,
because the
20 minutes into it, folks, give up on it. I'll give you
go to the last half hour if you want to see John Curley's life put before your eyes.
Oh, that's right. And they're from Philadelphia, and they're doing like a New York accent the whole time.
He's trying to confess his life to a priest because he's done a lot of bad things, and he says, "But what if I don't feel like I did anything bad?" Well, that's not much of a confession then. Well, is there a way around it? I mean, it's fascinating the way he negotiates with a Catholic priest about how do I confess a sin if I do it all over again because I had to do it.
But what is he looking for ultimately? Is he looking for salvation? Because, right at the end, you can say, I'm sorry for all my sins. Please forgive me.
But
you get the one-way ticket.
But he's too honest to just do that superficial.
Oh, he's not doing it for
I'm
that
sorry.
reason.
No,
Okay.
he's doing it for his own.
Then what does he want in return? Absolution?
Well, I guess so. He wants to confess.
Same thing. Catholic Church, you got your rules.
That's exactly right. He is just like you.
That is a stretch.
He's
okay.
an assassin with a big heart.
Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I didn't read the next story.
I
got so caught up in the sugary drink thing.
Okay, well, that's good. So let me just quickly do this because we don't have a lot of time. China just expelled 3 Wall Street Journal reporters.
I got that
because
part.
There was this editorial.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the headline, everybody.
All right, let me give you a typical radio response.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? The hell, 3 of them.
And it's in response to an opinion piece that dared to call China Asia's sick man. This was a trope that was in the late 19th century and early 20th century about whenever the Europeans and Americans were taking advantage of China. It's considered like a century of humiliation on China's part. Mm-hmm. And to now call China Asia's sick man it feels like it's in reference to that, and now it's in reference to the coronavirus. So they kick out these 3 reporters, and I thought, well, that's weird. If you're a reporter, why would you write such an editorial or such an opinion piece? Well, it turns out they didn't. So Wall Street Journal published an opinion piece by somebody from the Hudson Institute, and in reaction, China said, oh, yeah, you do that, we're going to kick out 3 reporters that are reporting on Chinese, comings and goings. And so for that, there's some kind of a, upset.
Yeah.
They're not. It makes sense if those reporters were somehow turning into opinion writers, but just to expel them, there's a lot of pushback against China at this point. But they say, listen, Wall Street Journal, we warned you, don't do this kind of stuff. And Wall Street Journal says, our job is to print editorials. We're not saying we agree with it or disagree with it. Yeah. It's an opinion to get conversations going.
The twist was that they threw out writers that hadn't even written that piece.
That's right. Yeah, that was a surprise to me. They were just doing their job.
The whole story is a surprise to me. I didn't read it. Okay, moving on. I had other stuff.
No, am I criticizing you? Not at all.
I see the way you look at
it's
me.
The guilt.
No.
It's the guilt that you won't be absolved in confession for it because you don't feel bad.
Plus, you, Father Fry, sin, I was judging my co-host. Okay.
He'd understand.
Behind the media work, I told one priest the story about my father. I'll tell a quick Catholic story. So my dad was coaching the CYO basketball team.
Wow. I never have thought of your dad in any kind of, physical adventure sort of way.
He played at University of Pennsylvania. He played for University of Pennsylvania. He started.
Are you Penn?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Number 14. You can look him up.
I've heard all your golf stories about
he's a great athlete. Great.
Okay.
And he loved coaching basketball. So he's coaching CYO, little basketball, and the kids are like juniors and seniors in high school.
Yeah,
Okay,
I played CYO.
Okay, and he led everybody on the team. And one time at the beginning of the season, they said, "Mr. Curley, we want to win." My dad said, "Okay, fine. You, and you will not play. Are you okay with that? you all want to win, or you all want to play?" So they won the first 5 games. Some guy comes forward and says, "Hey, I want to play." They go in the locker room. My father says, "You all want to play, or you all want to win?" Well, we all want to play. Okay, so they go on to lose the next 4 games. And finally, Mr. Curley, we all want to win. All right, got this. This is how he coaches. So he says, "Hey, I need you to come run the clock." So I'm running the clock. He goes, "Listen to me. When I give you the sign,
Oh, no.
start the clock late. Just throw the switch late." I said, "Well, how? Hey, give me 15 seconds. No one's looking. Start it late. Or if I give you this sign, start it early. Let's get the hell out of here, right?" So I used to sit in there, and I'm a good Catholic kid.
Yeah.
I'm 6th grade. Every Saturday, my mother would make us get on our Schwinn bikes and ride to our Mother Good Counsel. And as I'm riding there, I'm running through a list of crap I've done. Other than the basic 3, I want to keep talking about touching myself because it'll come off. So I got something new, and I throw in there.
Yeah.
So she probably seen it, but I turn the clock on late. And the guy says, "Who's your father?"
Oh, my God.
The priest.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I threw my dad under the bus. I'm like, Jack Curley? And he coaches. Where's he coach? I said, he coaches over at St. Denis. Uh-huh. And who did he play on Saturday? I said, St. Catherine. And he goes, "Oh, okay." I get on the bike. I get home. Guess who's on the phone?
Yeah.
That guy!
Your dad.
Because his friend was the coach of the other team. And my father goes, "All right, yeah, Father, I understand. All right, I'm sorry, Father." Yeah. And my dad unloads on, "What are you confessing that for? That's not a sin." I go, "It is a sin. I feel really guilty." It's just not a sin. It's not a sin. Obey thy father
Honor
and mother.
your
It's like
father
number
and mother.
1, top of the list. I'm like, golly, how was I supposed to? Hey, they're all in this together. That's what he said to me.
You know,
He's free.
your dad.
Oh, my God.
Your dad could have coached or managed the Astros.
He could have. He was big on the cheating. Big on the cheating. When I gave you this sign, and I said, my brother goes, "Hey, I'm going to run the clock. What are the signs again?" My brother would sit in there.
Yeah, right. That's perfect.
And he'd be able to coach me, "Hey, the clock. Start the clock." Like, "Oh, sorry about that."
I'm not sure we recruited many Catholics to the cause today.
The Catholics, they were checking up on you.
Yeah,
But I was shocked when because you're not allowed to ask.
I know.
All right.
Boy,
They can
see
see you.
confession.
They can see you. They see you. All right. We got none of the other stories. That's not news.
It's okay.
What do you want to do next? Oh, Mike Lewis told me this story. When they started first importing cars from Japan to the United States, they were very easy to steal, and Japan made it very easy for them to be stolen because they didn't think we would steal stuff. And I'll tell you why. All right?
I like
Here we go.
that.
This is your big tease. Tracy Taylor.
We're watching a very slow drive for those of you on